Alright guys, so the Arnold Classic's getting closer. 3 weeks to go. And I started this video off with bench. Really excited to hit 385 for a double, let alone multiple sets. So that first one was challenging. Second one I think was a little bit faster since I got accustomed to the weight. And I was only trying to do 2 sets, but I went for more. The first rep of the third set was really fast, but then I couldn't get the second rep. I tried one more time to see if I could get it. I actually only got the first rep once again, and barely missing the second rep. Had to have Rob grab it. This is 535 for 2 on squat. I'm continuing with my doubles. Felt pretty solid. I could probably do this for 4 or 5 on a good day, but I was actually, this is kind of like a warm-up set here, so knocked that out. Went up to 550. This is feeling slower than I would have liked it to have, and see myself struggling a little bit with that. Went for a second set. I think it was a little bit easier, but I think I'm only doubling like 565 for 2 right now. I'm not really happy with that. I think I could do more if I was well rested, so I'll try that tomorrow. This is 635 for doubles now. That first rep just there was the fastest I've ever pulled that, but I couldn't get the second rep because my back started rounding. So I did it for a second set, and it felt pretty good. Alright, so my video of myself deadlifting 700 pounds got a lot of attention. I posted the video on Reddit, and I got something like 400 comments on it. A lot of those comments were questions, and I figured I'd just make a video answering these questions. I've posted videos before, and a lot of the questions kind of just keep coming up. So I figured I'd just make like a video answering a lot of like these frequently asked questions. So first of all, I'm 5'10". Several people posted that I look a lot taller for some reason, that I'm like 6'3". I appreciate the compliment, but I actually am only 5'10". I'm like average human height for a male in America. So let's see what questions we have. Where do I train out of? I live in New Orleans, and I train at a gym called New Orleans Barbell Club. It's a great gym, and there are a lot of really strong lifters there. I've mentioned in previous videos that I train with Rob Taylor a lot. He goes by the alias Robzilla, but he benches like 575 pounds, and he did a 556-pound competition bench. He's really strong, and I train with him all the time. He does my bench programming. Mark Villaire trains there too. He's gonna squat 760 pounds in reps, and I think he's like 22 or 23 years old too, so he's like really young. Same with Rob, also really young. So it kind of gives, this gym gives like an environment where you know, people are really into powerlifting training, and that's kind of like the environment I want to immerse myself in. So New Orleans Barbell Club, if you're in New Orleans, come and try it. Let's see. Yeah, a lot of these comments are literally just comments and not questions. So, all right. So, was my shoulder impingement a sudden occurrence? I had a shoulder impingement in 2013. I was benching 275 pounds for 3 reps. This was like a big deal for me at the time, and you know, looking back, it shouldn't have been. That's like, you know, it's not bad. It's like strong, but it's not like, you know, really strong. But I thought I was like the Hulk. So I unrack the bar and go to do my bench press, and I really only have it for like 1 rep. I'm definitely not strong enough to do it for 3, and so I barely get up the first one, and I really just use like the spotter for assistance on the next 2. And when I racked the bar, I just noticed my shoulder felt fried. Like, it felt really sore. I never felt like a pop or a tear or anything. It was just sore, and I noticed that the rest of the workout was really difficult, and the soreness persisted, and really it took 6 months for me to be able to work out on it like semi-regularly again. I felt the area where the impingement was probably up until like a year ago, and if I do a really hard shoulder workout, I still feel it actually. So, all right, so the next question is if I can share my training schedule. My training is actually very simple. I actually do my own programming, and the breakdown is really as follows. I have one chest day where I do bench press, one deadlift day, which is focused on back, and then a squat day, which is like leg focused. And so basically most of the year I'm doing like a 5x5 type of program. And then 6 weeks before a competition, I'll taper down the reps and the sets towards like a 2x2 a week before the competition. So 6 weeks before the competition, I'm doing a 5x5. Maybe about 4 or 3 weeks before, I'm doing 3x3s, and then 2 weeks before, I'll do a 2x2, and then the week before the competition, I'm really just doing a deload. So I'm letting my body recover so that it'll be very well recovered for the day of the competition. So it's really not that complicated of a training schedule. Also on the days where, like, say I'm focusing on deadlift, I will do accessories on top of that. For instance, like barbell back rows, or you know, biceps, something that is back, and well, I actually also do biceps on my back days, so I'll do back and biceps on my deadlift days. So let's see, diet. Any tips on diet? I'm really not the best person to ask about that because I kind of eat whatever. Let's see, in August I was 205 pounds and I really wanted to gain weight so I could be in the 231 pound weight class. I drank a 2200 calorie shake on top of my usual diet in order to gain mass. I really wanted to be in the 231 pound class. So I did, and literally in 1 month I'd gained 25 pounds. I was at 230 pounds. That is called dirty bulking. I gained a lot of fat, but likewise a lot of muscle. And then gradually since like September, I've removed a lot of the fat and gained a lot of the muscle. So I'm actually like 235 pounds right now. I need to cut weight in the next few weeks leading up to the Arnold so that I'm 231. That would really, really suck, by the way, to like pay for the Arnold and travel to Ohio and everything and just like not be able to compete because I'm too fat. That's something I thought about, and that would be kind of a nightmare. So let's see, what else do we have? Somebody asked what Deadlift Bar deadlifts are. Well, the distinction is really between using a deadlift bar for deadlifts versus a straight bar. USAPL, which is the federation that I now compete in, uses a straight bar. The difference between the two types are a deadlift bar is kind of like a flex bar. It's thinner and it bends a lot more. So the distance that you have to lift the weight during a deadlift is reduced when using a deadlift bar versus a straight bar. So deadlift bar is typically an easier bar to use because the range of motion is less. Straight bars are a bit thicker, and I would say I get an extra 20 pounds or so out of a deadlift bar. So deadlift bar is a little bit easier. This guy is posting about deadlifting with straps. Should you deadlift with straps or not? I say no. I think not using straps, you have to work on your grip strength a lot.
Whereas if you're using your straps, you're kind of relying on, you know, the straps themselves rather than actually holding on. So it's actually doing yourself a favor by just going entirely raw. And building off of that, straps are not competition legal, so you should pretty much in your entire training cycle train as you would in like a competition sort of environment. So just don't use straps. Get used to not using straps, because there are people like, for instance, Pete Rubish. He deadlifted like 920 or 930 or something like that. But raw, like in competition, he does something like 865 or 880. I forget exactly what the number is, but there's a big gap. And so, I mean, it's, in my opinion, better to train as with the same limitations as you would in a competition. So, let's see. This guy is asking, do you lift your butt during your bench lifts? Occasionally I do, but I don't mean to. It's not competition legal, so I would typically try and avoid that, and I don't think it's good form anyway. Let's see, more comments about my height. Yes, I'm still 5'10". Alright, so this guy is asking, do people deadlift 700 pounds, which is 3 times their body weight, well, of my body weight, do they do it naturally? And the answer to that is yes, because I have never used anabolic drugs before or steroids. I'm completely natural, with the exception of like taking creatine and, you know, like vitamins stuff, because I mean that doesn't occur like in the environment naturally. I don't pick vitamins off of like a vitamin plant or something like that. But I do not take steroids, and I never have. But yeah, I mean, people with strong lifts, I mean, 700 pounds in my mind is like good, but it's not like amazing. But I think like for untrained people, like 700 pounds is probably like pretty good. It takes a lot of dedication and time, really just time, to get a lift that strong, you know. It's not like I've been lifting for, you know, 3 months or something like that and I walked in the gym and lifted 700 pounds. Another question to kind of build off of that statement is, I started lifting like 6 years ago and training competitively 3 years ago, and so I've been lifting 4 or 5 times a week for that long, with like intense, you know, making sure I'm getting enough protein in my diet and all these things. I would not go out drinking, for example, in order to go to the gym, or if I knew it would impact my workout, I would just not go out, you know. I would always prioritize weightlifting. And so dedication and time is really a major factor in getting strength, you know, like especially at a really competitive level. For instance, like I'm going to the Arnold in like 3 weeks, and you know, all those guys I'm competing with, you know, are super dedicated. They eat, breathe, bleed powerlifting, and that's the sort of dedication you need to, you know, getting a big total. And I think anybody can do it also. I mean, you just have to have like the ambition to get strong. Most people don't. A lot of people think powerlifting is stupid, at least in the sense of treating it that seriously. So that's why these sorts of lifts are, you know, not usual. They're not very common because you have to dedicate so much of your life to the sport. Any advice on how to go about the shoulder injury that I had? Yeah, so basically what I did was I just did stretching, and it just took time to heal it. I mean, there's really no magical formula. I didn't really even see a doctor. In hindsight, I think maybe my impingement could have recovered more quickly. So I would recommend actually seeing a doctor, which is something I didn't do. Let's see. More comments, no questions. How tall am I? How long have you been lifting for? I just answered that. About 6 years, 3 years competitively. This guy's asking, well, it's more of I always thought dropping the weight like you did is cheating. Serious question. Do you ever control the weight when you lower it? Well, yeah. So the 650 pound warm up that I did in the video that I posted, yeah, I basically slammed it to the ground in like an adrenaline fueled rage. You know, yes, that's not competition legal to slam it on the ground like that. I've seen that done, and actually at Nationals in October, this guy, he does like 730 pounds, so I'm sure it's like a PR for the guy, and he slammed it on the ground, and he got red lighted for that. I'm like, dude, you put all this effort into training and then like coming to this meet, and you're gonna blow it on like slamming it to the ground. Yeah, you can't do that. You're not supposed to slam to the ground. That's like strictly a training thing when you're like super hyped up. Don't do that. It's not competition legal, and it's a really stupid way to get red lighted. This guy is saying, wow, you look in great shape and can lift heavy. Well, thank you. That is so kind. I think that I look in good shape. Like, I think I have been eating so much that I have a little bit of a fat coat on. Nothing like crazy, but there's a little bit. So I don't think I'm like in immaculate shape. But thank you. I got a few comments on that. Hey, I just work out a lot, man. You gotta go to the gym. What's your warm-up like? I think that's actually a really good question, because when you're doing like a PR day, a lot of people ask, well, what's your structure and leading up to that heavy lift? Typically, I will start off with 135 pounds on the bar. Same doing deadlift. All right, I'll start off with 135 pounds on the bar, and I'll do that for 8 reps. My first warm-up set is always for reps, like 8 to 10. And then I'll go 225, which is 2 plates, and then 315, which is 3 plates, 405, which is 4 plates. And then after 4 plates, I always go in like 50-pound increments. So it'll be 455, then 495, 545, 585, 635, and so on. And I'll do those for singles. And then sometimes before like my working set, I might slip an extra warm-up set that's less than 50 pounds, but that's always immediately before my top set. So for instance, say I'm doing like a 680 pound deadlift, I'll do 635 and then maybe like 660 and then 680. It just depends on the day. Like if I need to build confidence, I'll do that, like, you know, in between warm-up set. That's like maybe a 25 pound increase, you know. Let's see. Okay, this guy is asking, do you ever hurt yourself from lifting? No, I feel sore a lot of the time, but I'm never like in pain. I'm just kind of like always sore, and no, I kind of like hurt my pec during this training cycle for a little bit, but it recovered after like a month, and that was it. I basically just benched too heavy, and I noticed that I had some soreness in my pec. It just went away. I've never been like seriously injured outside of like a shoulder impingement. Do I ever get joint pain? No, not really. I used to get tendonitis every once in a while from benching too heavy, but I think my body's just gotten like used to the weights that I was lifting, and I rarely get tendonitis. Also, with bench day, I bench every week now instead of benching twice a week heavy, and that's kind of like saved myself from constant tendonitis. What belt do I use? Yeah, so like people asking about equipment, I'll just answer like all the equipment I use. The belt I use is a Toro Bravo 10mm belt. and that's important. 10 millimeters is like kind of like a standard thickness for belts, but there are also 13 millimeter ones. And in competition, a federation will restrict the type of equipment that you can use. 10 millimeters are pretty much universally accepted, but only some federations will accept 13 millimeter ones. So if you plan on competing, it's going to be really important to look up whether the federation will allow you to use 13 millimeter ones or not. It would suck to buy like a $90 belt and then not be able to use it. The knee sleeves that I use are Rebands, I think that's how you say it, and they've been great. I've had them for 2 years. I've had no issues with them. The quality is so great. I just ordered some SBD ones. They're a little bit thicker, and I ordered a size small so that they'll give me like the most pop out of them. I've read that you can get like 10 pounds on your squat from tight SBD knee sleeves, so I went ahead and ordered a pair. The wrist wraps that I use are SBDs. They're just medium length ones. They just add wrist support for when you're benching or when you're squatting. And the shoes I use are called Addy Powers. They're just standard squat shoes. And the shoes I use for deadlift are typically just something like Vans. They're just flat shoes. A lot of people use Converses, which are also great. So that's about it. Anyway, thanks for watching this question and answers video. I appreciate you watching, and please like, comment, and subscribe for more content. Thanks a lot.